in, everybody, whether you're on the East Coast, West Coast, or around the world. This is Coast to Coast. If you're on the West Coast, have some coffee with me. How's it going, guys?
Morning. So tell me, the two strikes, let's get the sales of woe. Sounds like a coaching problem.
Let's just rip the Band-Aid off. Let's just rip the Band-Aid off. Is that what we're going with?
I mean, why not?
So yeah, we played the #1 ranked team in the state Tuesday. We were up 4-3 with 1 strike to go. Gave up a single. My starter was at 99 pitches, so he's allowed to throw 100 or more depending on the batter. So he got 1 batter left. Ended up hitting the next batter on a pitch that actually bounced in the dirt and then bounced up and hit the hitter. So then they had 2 runners on, 2 outs, brought in the new pitcher, had an in-between hopper hit the third. Our third baseman booted it. So they had bases loaded, 2 outs. Same situation. We had a chance to get out of the inning. The team we were facing went for a suicide squeeze to try and tie it. Batter swings through the bunt. Our catcher throws down to third to pick the runner up because the runner got too far down the line. The throw hits the base runner in the helmet, ricochets into left field. They score 2 runs, and we lose 5-4.
Got ya.
Fielding error to end it is that's a bummer.
Sounds to me like that there should have been some more coaching plays earlier in the game so that it wouldn't have been a 1-1 game.
Yeah. We were down 3-0. Our starter served up a 3-run homer in the first.
And then so it came back at 4-3, but you should have been scoring more runs.
I mean, there's a reason why.
I guess you know what, it sucks when you're. Yeah, but weren't you guys the champions last year?
No, we were conference champions last year. This is a team that won state last year. They probably are going to win state again this year because the team that they played to go to state after our game, they just curb stomped 15-1. And that team was ranked like #2 in the state, and they beat them by 14.
Sounds like y'all need to start getting some out-of-district kids to come in and play like some of these max preps do.
That's right. You need some bats.
Wingers. What's wrong with you?
We have bats. We scored the most runs. We've scored the most runs that they've allowed this season. They have not allowed more than 3 runs in a game.
Scored more than y'all, I guess.
Yeah, like their ERA for the season is a 1.16.
You know, based on this panel, I get why you didn't come in yesterday. Where you guys go?
I'm not like I can't complain like when they have a staff ERA of a 1.16 for the year and they have not given up more than 3 runs besides against us. Like we did everything that we could do to beat them. It's just that when you're that good, your breaks are going to go your way pretty much every time.
I don't know about that. I mean, it's like I said, it sounds like, I mean, there was the boot at third base, you know, which startles everybody. At that point, did you go to the mound?
Yeah,
I
did.
Like relax everybody? I mean, because that's what you got to do at that point. You got to be like, all right, guys, we're still 1 out away. We're still, you know, it's still not.
And the thing with the error too is, if he doesn't boot the ball at third, it's going to be an infield single anyways because it was a high chopper off the turf where if he waits for it to hit the ground the second time, the guy's going to beat it. So it's one of those plays where you take the shot and try to get it on the in-between hop and ended up just bouncing off the front of his glove and kind of he booted it back towards the pitcher. But he's not going to get the guy at first anyway, so the bases still would have been loaded.
Yeah, but wouldn't he have gotten the guy at third?
No, because there's 2 outs that are off on contact. Third baseman's charging it. So even if he fields it cleanly, he's not going to be able to get back to third in time to make that play.
So the shortstop should have covered third then.
Still not going to get there to make that play. So the shortstop's got to go towards second.
Well, and on top of everything else, like, I mean, I watched on, I guess it was Monday, your Cubs do the exact same thing like 5 times in a row or 5 times with the you know, they unable to get the guy out who's bunting the ball.
Yep.
They have poor fielding skills on bunts.
They do, and yet they're one of the best defensive teams in baseball. I think they're number 2 in defensive efficiency, but yet they can't field the freaking bunt.
Number 2 in efficiency, unless you bunt, and then they're last. You ain't first, you're last.
sounds like Dustin's team and the Phillies should get together and hold joint fielding tryouts. See if we can get something going on there.
That would be both of Dustin's teams, the Cubs and the Phillies were fine.
Okay.
The Phillies were placing the bunts really nicely.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had that, but I thought the Cubs were the ones. Okay, I got you. Well, then, Dustin, the Cubs and your team need to get together and they need to hold hands and figure this out.
See, that would have helped your team if you had some of the Cubs coming back for you. No, really, he's 12.
We're good.
Dude has a beard.
I blame all the GMOs in the food, okay?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. All that
It's
stuff
the milk.
in the cheese. All that stuff in the cheese.
All right. Well, sorry to hear it there, Dustin, but it happens. Pacers get a win.
They do.
Pacers handle business. Didn't think they were going to. They look good though.
Yeah, I when I was watching that game all the way into the third, well, really before even the fourth quarter, I felt like it was such a back and forth, 3-point. I mean, it was so close. And then that fourth quarter hit, and all of a sudden, OKC just implodes. And
again,
was it 30
is the answer there.
Exactly. It looked a lot like game 1.
Yeah.
Which is interesting to me because I tell you, when you think about it, I mean, who other than Halliburton is really shining on the Pacers?
Nebhart
is, but obviously the bench did a lot. Specifically, Matt Curran did the damage, in last night's game.
I mean, Halliburton wasn't even the points leader on his team last night.
I think Matt Curran had like 25, 26, somewhere in that neighborhood.
27 if I remember right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So 27. So they actually had their bench come alive and help them out.
Well, they had 3 guys over 20 points.
Yeah.
So I mean,
which I don't understand. Where is this OKC defense? I know they got a great defense. I don't understand why their defense all of a sudden at the end was just not existent.
And it's interesting because that is 2 fourth quarter collapses. And I mean, if we've seen anything from the Pacers all postseason, you got to keep your foot on the gas in the fourth quarter because that's when they actually start playing.
The thing with Halliburton's game last night too, we had 23 and 11 or something like that, or 23 and 12. When Halliburton has a 20 and 10 game, counting the playoffs, the Pacers are 31 and 2 this season. So if he gets 20 and 10, chances are the Pacers are going to win.
And they still haven't lost 2 games in a row.
Still haven't, yeah.
Because that game 3 thing didn't work out quite the same.
Nope, doesn't look like it.
Yeah, because I think that was the 2 different things. They're like, hey, they haven't lost 2 games in a row, and they haven't won a game 3 since 1976.
Instead, and the other ironic thing too is I think this is only the second or third game where the Pacers actually had the lead at halftime.
Oh, playoffs.
Yeah, in the playoffs they were up 4 at the half. I think this is only the second or third playoff game where they've actually had the lead at halftime.
And not for nothing. I mean, I have watched a big goose egg, really, of this series. So, where were the Pacers all season long?
Well, it's what I said a couple weeks ago. Since January 13th, the Pacers have the second best record in the NBA behind the Thunder.
Yeah.
So this is no longer a small sample size. They have been one of the best teams in the NBA for the last 5.5 months, and they've been the best team in the Eastern Conference the last 5 months.
Is it
they
coaching?
Struggled. It not necessarily the beginning of the year. Halliburton wasn't playing the way he's playing now. They weren't getting the production out of guys like Mathurin and Nebhart early on. Their bench wasn't as good as it is now. It was pretty much Turner, Siakam, and Halliburton and nobody else. Now they're getting production from 10 guys deep in the lineup. They're getting production from Obi Toppin right now. Obi Toppin was non-existent during the regular season, but all of a sudden the playoffs come and he's actually looking like a very valuable role player.
Yeah, and it didn't hurt the fact that SGA went 9-20 either. I mean, I felt like SGA had an off night last. I know he had 24, but I still felt like he had an off night in terms of what he was doing. You know.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about that though is when you're in a championship series, when you're having an off night, you got to find other guys to step up.
I agree, 100%.
So
100%.
I mean, because bad games are going to happen, so then you have to adjust the way you're using a guy. Like if the shots aren't falling, start to move the ball other places. I mean, that's why you have a bench.
And that's I mean, that's a big reason why the Pacers have been able to play at the level they've been able to play at, because as of January 12th, they were actually the 11th seed in the Eastern Conference, were out of the play-in on January 12th. Mm-hmm. And they ended up getting all the way up to the 4 seed because they basically got to the point where it's like, Halliburton's good. Halliburton's going to be the engine that makes us go, but if he struggles, we need other people to step up, and that's when he started to see Matherin step up. That's when he started to see Nembhard start knocking the shots he's been knocking down. TJ McConnell looks probably as good as he's looked in 4 or 5 years coming off the bench.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the Pacers showed why they're the number one offense, right? They were shooting, over 51% last night? I mean, that's incredible. I mean, when you're shooting like that and you're aggressive on the defensive end, I mean, and I told Gonzo them last night, I felt like if the Pacers want to win last night's game, they had to come out aggressive. They had to get the lead. They couldn't come from behind. And I think the majority of that game, they weren't coming from behind. They were actually either in the lead or tied with them. So I felt like that was a big thing for that team as well.
Yeah, I mean, they were just battling back and forth. Like nobody ran away during this game. Like it was just kind of lead changes constantly, which, that's a good game to watch, right? And but yeah, I mean, fourth quarter again, Pacers find a way to make that work.
That's crazy. Wow.
So, and then and the more important game, the Seattle Storm won against the Lynx. They actually took down the Giants. They were undefeated going in there. Guess what? Not anymore.
That's right.
Yeah. That just leaves the New York Liberty as the only unbeaten WNBA team.
Yeah,
wow.
The thing that's funny with the WNBA, right? Because they have the conferences, right? The Eastern Conference, Western Conference.
Yeah.
Except it doesn't matter for their playoff setup.
Nope.
It's the top 8 teans.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, we're third in the Western Conference. Like, yeah, but who cares? Because the top 8 teams
overall.
go.
Well, that was like who was it?
I mean, they're 5th overall. Like they would be in the playoff pictures if it ended today. But it's crazy when you think of. It's like, okay, we have the conferences. It's like, well, yeah, but conferences only matter if the conferences matter.
That was like the LA Sparks. I think 2 years ago, the LA Sparks were 3rd in the West, but they missed the playoffs because they were 9th overall.
Yeah. No, and that definitely can happen. I mean, it's there's only 13 teams in the league, so it makes sense that you would do it this way because it ensures that you have the 8 best teams in there. But then at that point, why do you have conferences, right?
Yeah, you might
you have the conferences. League. You got to have the conferences because you got to. I'm sure they probably play in their conference twice or 3 times in comparison to 2 times going across the country. Yeah, I got to imagine there's a little bit of that.
Yeah. How about that? Look at that. WNBA got a viewer from our show. Who knew?
We're all of a sudden watching it and go like, I can't
bring that to your meeting.
This game.
That's right.
You got to bring that to your meeting. Like, hey, I got people watching.
I did. I mean, I will admit that I did watch some of the New York Liberty versus Chicago Sky game the other day, and when you watch just the way that Sabrina Ionescu plays and just kind of the way that this New York Liberty team play, it is an exact replica of prime Golden State years, where you had Curry and Thompson and just run and gun firing threes. Like that is how this New York Liberty team plays. They made, I think, 21 threes against Chicago Sky the other day. Just constant run and gun. You pull up and launch threes.
I mean, that makes a lot of sense, because especially going against the Sky, because you're not going to get any points down low. You're not bigger than them. Like,
Right.
they may not be able to hit baskets on the other end.
Yeah.
But
And all you got to do is let them go, let Angel Reese go up for a layup and just then go try to get a rebound.
Hey, she had a good game. Angel had 19 and 12 that game. She actually had a pretty solid game that day.
Well,
So-
that's great. But did she score her first basket?
She did.
She did.
She
Scored her first
because
three.
They didn't even try to play defense.
No, it was
The
hilarious.
girl in front
But
of
was
her.
her first points off of me bounds or actual?
No,
No,
it
her
was a
first
natural basket.
Okay.
So that as she was, so a different player drove to the basket, missed. She gets the rebound, and the defender didn't even put her arms up. She was just standing in front of her, and that basket goes in. So anybody that bet on it this time definitely lost.
And then she
Well,
ended up
figures
stepping out and
because
hitting a three.
Yeah.
That's been hit, and they actually it made national news because that was trending.
Yes.
That bet became like so. So I'm glad that she finally made one because it'll calm down those numbers. Like,
For sure.
yeah, it's like there was the one guy who started. It's like, of course, he's the mush. There's like one guy who's like, who has never bet before in his life and says, I'm going to bet this because, everybody's winning millions upon millions of dollars. I'm going to bet like $200. It's the last $200 I have for food and
Catching it out.
everything.
That sounds like an episode of Hardball.
So yeah, I see that definitely occurred to somebody.
Oh, no question. No question. And the thing that's funny is if you go and place that bet next time, it's probably going to win.
Yeah. Over and over again. It's like,
Yeah.
it's probably going to win.
I mean, I would hope she can make a basket with zero defense in front of her. I mean, she is a professional athlete, right?
One would hope.
I mean, she did airball a layup 2 weeks ago on a fast break with
How
nobody
would
around her.
airball a layup? How does that happen?
Too much of a finger roll, I guess.
Yeah, how about right?
I mean,
Wow.
I've overpowered a layup before, like
Yeah.
you didn't take enough off the ball and you put it off the glass and you're just like, oh, well, that didn't work out.
I mean, I see people try to slam the ball into the hoop that obviously didn't work out a lot of times. And it goes about 10 feet in the rows or whatever. But
Oh, yeah, hitting the
I've seen them do that.
hit the heel of the rim there, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you watched Jordan do that, and it went past half court. He went to mash that thing home, and it was like, nope.
Guys at the other end of the court saying, "I got the rebound," and it's up.
Man.
Did you guys actually talk about Rodgers?
Aaron Rodgers, not really.
Have
No.
we mentioned it?
Yeah, I mean, we mentioned it, but that's as far as we got. It's his situation is interesting, I guess. He signs a cheap deal, team friendly. It's like 13 million, something like that. I think it's his quote that he came out with that is probably. It makes you wonder if it's lip service or if it's he actually had some sort of epiphany of stop being a douche.
Maybe his wife had something to do with it.
Well, yeah, right. Gets married, I guess, and she doesn't have social media and like none of that. Who cares? But basically, he comes out because I don't want to read this whole quote, but to paraphrase it, he said that a lot of the decisions throughout his career were made by ego, and even things that worked out weren't necessarily fulfilling, and things that were made from your soul tend to be more fulfilling. And the decision to come back to this was a decision made from his soul. That's paraphrasing his quote. And so he went on to say that he wants to pass on the knowledge to his teammates and stuff like that. So he's alluding to the fact that he wants to be a good teammate moving forward. And then in saying that, also, kind of concedes the fact that maybe he wasn't always. So is this lip service? I mean, we'll see. But, I guess if you're a Steelers fan, you're hoping it's real.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm gonna give the benefit out and think it's real because there was no motivating factor that he had to do this. I think that's not something that he did do because it's not like he needs the PR or whatever. I mean, I gotta imagine that had to be how he really felt. I don't know what would be the motive to do it otherwise.
Because
and it's definitely not money driven,
him.
right? Money driven is not the case because $13 million is a drop in the bucket for Rodgers.
Right.
This is the only team that wanted him, though. Like, you didn't see all these other teams going after him, really, giving him a contract.
I would bet if other teams knew he was going to go for a $13 million contract, more people would have been interested.
Well, I agree. But the fact is, like, when he hit free agency, he kept saying he wanted 20 to 25 million. Like, that was the number he set when he was, looking for teams. And everyone's like, oh, well, I don't want to sign him for that. So they all went their separate ways. And Pittsburgh still needed a quarterback. And I think it was just a matter of, if you want to play, this is what we're going to give you.
When he first hit, he wanted 30.
Yeah.
Like that was the first reports of it.
Yeah.
But the thing is if any other team knew that he was going to take a deal that low.
Yeah. More teams like the Giants, more teams would have went after him.
No question. More teams would have been into it because
if
he's not prime Rodgers, which he's definitely not going to be, but if he's anything better than he was with the Jets, he would be better than some of the starting quarterbacks out there for sure.
Oh yeah. What do you think of Nick Chubb going to Houston?
Yeah,
I mean,
I like it. I think it's good for him. I think it's a good fit. I think, like you said, like we talked about earlier, that fact that he needs another complimentary back to be in a committee with, that it takes some of the pressure off of that reconstructed leg. I think he has a good offense over there. I think he has a good coach over there. So I think it's a good fit for him. It really is going to be dependent on how well that leg is healed and what he can do with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's going to be fine on that front just because that leg injury was so much less intense than it originally looked.
Yeah.
It wasn't the rebuilding that the first time that happened was. It was far less damaged. So I think he's going to be okay as far as that's concerned, especially because he's not going to have to take the bulk of the carries. Like it's a running back by committee situation, which through his career has been the best situation for him anyway.
Yeah. And then you have all the drama in Cincinnati right now, where Cincinnati's in a world of trouble.
I mean, feel free to elaborate, man.
Well, obviously, Trey Hendrickson is still looking for his contract extension, and he has held out. He's not at mandatory minicamp because he doesn't have the contract extension. Now, Cincinnati's first-round pick, Shamar Stewart, who was drafted to be the edge on the other side of Trey Hendrickson, has not signed his rookie deal and has now left minicamp without any intention to return because his deal has not been signed.
So their defense is going to suck. What else is new?
But that just shows you that there's seems like there's something going on in Cincinnati, because you brought in this guy to basically help Trey Hendrickson this year and potentially take over for Trey Hendrickson if he leaves. And not only did you not come to terms on a rookie deal, but you literally just let him leave minicamp without trying to fix the situation before he left.
I mean,
sounds about right for them.
Yeah, exactly. And it's OTAs. Like it's not that serious yet. I mean, you're talking about guys that aren't in pads. They're, there's nothing special about OTAs. Now, should you be there? Of course, whether you're a veteran or a rookie, obviously it's better if you're there. But there's tons of times that rookies haven't signed their deal yet at this point. So I wouldn't read too much into it yet. If you start getting into actual practices and stuff, then it becomes a little more serious.
Isn't that what mandatory minicamp is, though?
Yeah, so it is kind of right, but
That's what they're in right now.
Yeah, there's no padded action. Like this is just OTAs, right? This is
Yeah.
I
mandatory.
gotta imagine this is not a good foot to be stepping out on, though. I mean, even though it's
Especially as a rookie.
time.
No, but there are tons of times this point. A lot of rookies haven't signed. Now that's not the case this season, right? I think just about everybody has signed their deals now. But there's been a ton of them when you hit the mandatory OTAs that a rookie hasn't signed their deal yet because they want more guaranteed signing bonus, basically. That's usually what it's about because the contract is the contract, right? So usually the negotiating point is how much of it is guaranteed, how much of it comes as a signing bonus or whatever. Like that structure can be, manipulated a little bit, but the dollar figure really can't. Like that's part of the, CBA. So, that's usually what it is just exactly how does the money look. And if you start getting into the actual preseason practices, stuff like that, like real stuff, real work, then it's a problem. But when you're talking about guys running around in shorts and a t-shirt, like who cares? You need to be there because you need to be there with your guys and learning and all of that. But as far as like actual play, like they're not doing anything yet.
Well, I would think maybe even more on a conditioning standpoint. Maybe we'd want to be there, or even on learning, make sure you're tracking on the plays and coverages. And I mean, I got to imagine there's things, on the football IQ side of it that he should be gathering, even though they're not in pads.
Well, so that is the conditioning end of it isn't too much because they're not on the field a lot in these.
Okay.
Right? So as far as like playbook learning, stuff like that, these guys have the playbook. Like they can be learning that whether they're there or not. But yes, those are the things that they should be learning. And I mean, to that point, how little work they really do. This is Flacco.
Even when it got easier in like 2011, I think, everybody that was playing at that point had been through 2-a-days at some point in their life. Guys that come in the NFL now have never done it. They've never done it. We're out there for an hour and 15 minutes, and guys think it's hard. Like our OTAs were over 2 hours for sure. Even when it got easier.
So, I mean, it's not like their on-field work is crazy.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that he has been like.
I love Flacco's cool.
Yeah, like he's just been like busting everybody's balls. He's like, you're going to cry that this is hard? Like,
we're playing football for an hour and no pads. Like, what are we crying about?
I love that because it makes me wonder. Like, is it Sanders that's bitching? Because that other quarterback ain't bitching. He's barely hoping he gets to stay on the team.
So interesting. There was a report that came out 2 days ago, I think. Miami is interested in trying to make a deal for Dillon Gabriel.
Huh.
So that would be if that develops into something, that would be, good to watch. Because then that quarterback room down there gets interesting too.
Yeah, of course. And it does help out their situation a little bit more given Tua's injury history.
Well, that's what's weird though, is you have Tua, you have Zach Wilson that they went and got, right? And then what is Riley Leonard, I think is his name? Is that who they drafted?
No, Riley Leonard. Riley Leonard's in Indy.
Oh, who did they drafted a kid?
Quinn Ewers.
Quinn Ewers, that's right, out of Texas.
That's right. They grabbed Ewers. So
wow, that is kind of.
So if they added Gabriel, who's your odd man out there?
Yeah.
So, because I mean, Ewers showed enough.
Zach Wilson.
You would think so, right?
I don't think so because I think when it comes to Zach Wilson, they're gonna want to see if it ends up being a Geno Smith, Sam Darnold situation where you get him out of New York, you get him some weapons.
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, well, and of course, that's what I said about them getting him in the first place. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
I wonder if they're just watching these trends. But then if you make a play for Gabriel, you're not carrying 4.
Unless Ewers is hurt.
I mean, if Ewers is hurt again,
No, I doubt he's hurt. Otherwise, they would have already said something would have came out on that. I can't imagine that.
I don't know.
I don't see him carrying 4 quarterbacks, but that either means that somebody's injured. They don't have enough faith, obviously, which they shouldn't have enough faith in Tua being there healthy all year. And that leads me to believe that if Zach Wilson does see some time, maybe Wilson is used as a trade chip. And then you just trade Wilson away, and then you have your 3 quarterbacks in Tua, Ewers, and Gabriel.
yeah,
Wilson's going to see time at some point early on.
Again, I just don't love having multiple rookies. Like, that's just a weird layout.
Unless you go with like an undrafted free agent, like an undrafted
Yes.
guy like that you're bringing in. Like when when the Bears brought in, what's his face from, Tyson.
Tyson Bagent.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, that scenario I don't mind at all, right? Because you're just like, okay, he's clearly your third guy, developed project kind of player.
And then winds up starting even a few games. That was
for
even
sure.
the better part about that. It's
And played well.
He did play well.
Yeah. No, like those scenarios I like. It's when you end up with scenarios like the Browns have right now, or if Miami does go get Gabriel, it's like, okay, that doesn't make a ton of sense because you basically now have, I mean, with the Browns right now, you basically almost have 3 rookies, right? Because, I mean, Pickett isn't exactly, the veteran.
so who is that? Roman? Is that Roman's grandkid or something?
Who?
Gabriel.
Oh, I have no idea.
Roman Gabriel's grandson. Is that? All right. Good enough.
I was looking at Miami's depth chart. Unless I'm wrong, they got 4 quarterbacks right now on there. Brett Gabbert is like in the 4th spot, unless he's not on the team anymore. But
Blaine Gabbert won't be there. If they make a trade for Dylan Gabriel, Blaine Gabbert won't be there.
right,
I mean, he probably won't be there anyway.
Yeah.
right.
So speaking of another guy that didn't hit OTA, he didn't hit the voluntary ones and was seen on a boat with some pink crystals. And so this was his media response, which is hilarious.
Obviously, I want to be as candid with you guys as possible. I kind of like have things where talk about my personal life with people I don't know personally. I'm pretty sure everybody here minimum I bring people, but I kind of keep my personal life personal. I had a conversation with Drake, obviously. I'm gonna echo everything that he said. He told me, hoping everybody making good decisions. I had a conversation with people in the building as well. So, everything else. In particular, is all internal. Obviously, I
want to be as candid as possible, and I'm going to say absolutely nothing.
I just put some pop rocks on the plate.
Man.
and it's like and just so that you know, I did not have any relations with any of those ladies that are there because I want to show better to my teammates who don't want me to ever stay in the same room with their sisters.
I just liked the making sure everybody was making good decisions, after talking after Vrabel's
what could
press
go
conference.
wrong? A boat, 3 women, and pink crystals. What
no, there was way more than that.
go wrong?
No, there was way more than that on that.
Oh, I'm sure. Wow. I'm not mad at him. I mean, hey, he's living that lifestyle. Hell with it, man. Have fun. Damn, you got money. Do your thing, boo.
Ben Franklin with a leaf.
Hey.
I heard he was. I heard he was definitely one of those guys, though. He was absolutely, growing
that
the
makes sense.
homegrown. He was growing the homegrown.
No, that definitely makes some sense.
Yeah. How do you feel? You figure you got to be high to deal with the cadavers that he was storing in his basement.
Yeah. Oh my god.
It's never a dull moment. I tell you, who else didn't go to camp?
TJ Watt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
TJ Watt holding.
Yeah, I mean, again, we talked about that yesterday. Like, it's you should show up sometimes, but
Oh.
but yeah, I mean, that one's just dumb because the Steelers are going to do it.
Yeah.
I mean,
McLaurin didn't show either, so whatever. He'll be there.
yeah, well, but that one hits a little different.
Okay.
TJ makes that defense happen, and
Yeah.
they have a lot of money. Like, that deal is gonna happen.
Yeah.
Terry, on the other hand, what'd you say yesterday? He's 31. So
I believe so.
it's not like it's not like it'll be a long-term deal. Even if he gets paid, which if you look at his stats, he probably should. It's still only going
Terry
to be
McLaurin.
yeah.
I hope they don't pay him. I hope that he comes in. He'll come in and play for his last season. I'd love to steal him away.
Oh, sure. But I have a feeling that even if they do pay him,
There's
because
no way he's
they also have money because they're not paying a quarterback yet.
Yeah, there's no way Terry's 31 years old. He's only like 28.
Oh, I don't know. I thought somebody said
I thought so
31
too. No, I thought he's younger than that. Like,
then he's getting a 5-year deal, but from somebody.
This is his 7th year in the league.
Okay. Yeah, I thought somebody said he was 31. And
No,
I was
he's
just like,
not
oh, okay,
31.
well, you're probably not getting a long-term deal. Like, you might get a mid deal, but if he's 28, then yeah, he's going to, or 27, 28, whatever.
He's 29.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
there
he's
you go,
not
29. So yeah, he'll probably get like a 4-year deal at that point, and he'll get paid. And, I know that they have the ability to pay him, right? They're not paying a quarterback yet.
Yeah.
well,
Yeah. They got 3 more years before they got to deal with that issue. So yeah, you can absolutely.
No, they won't. If he goes back, I know that they have that time, but if he goes back to anywhere close to the NFC Championship game, that quarterback does not go into camp without some money.
Yep.
That's ifs, ands, or buts about that. And that's a real thing, I think. And it would probably behoove them to actually do that now while they have some of the money that they could actually defer while he's in his rookie deal.
It'll be a similar situation to Andrew Luck, where Andrew Luck had so much success his first 2 years that they basically said, screw the 3 years of your rookie deal. Here's the extension right away.
Yeah.
Right.
No, I mean, they have the ability to, obviously.
As long as he doesn't get hurt with the way he's blending with that team and the success he's having, you got to imagine, like Pag said, I think next year if he does well, he'll get that. They'll definitely get that extension. I can see that.
I think that he takes a small step back. I don't think that means he's out of the playoffs or anything like that. I think that they have a lot more tape on him now. They have a lot more understanding. They've had a lot more time to figure out some of his tendencies.
Mm-hmm.
And now they'll be able to actually defend against them.
I mean, that's why there's usually a sophomore slump, right? As people.
Well, I mean, it definitely happened to C.J. Stroud, right? I mean, Stroud came onto the scene that first year. He was blowing the doors out. And then second year, he did have a little bit of a slump. But also some of his receivers got hurt. So that did.
And his offensive line was crappy.
Yeah,
it happens all the time. Like a sophomore slump happens all the time. A lot of teams end up with tape on you, and then it's, are you actually a good player, and figure out how to change your game around that.
Exactly. So you have to reinvent yourself on the fly, and it's not so easy to do when you are in year number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Just my opinion.
Absolutely.
That being said, I think that, Washington's still going to be the number 2 team in the division and possibly the conference.
Yeah.
I don't see. Everybody's talking about how the Rams. I don't see it. I just don't see it. I think that their age is going to really catch up to them quick, and ultimately that's going to cause an issue. I think that's where some of the problems going to be. I suspect that they are going to be a decent team, and because I don't see anybody making that leap. I mean, I guess you could have an argument that the Bears could make the leap, because I think that the Packers are going to take a step backwards. I think that that's part of what's going to happen too. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel that like I just don't. Is the 49ers, I mean, I guess they could, the hard part about this is that who's going to win that division, and everybody's saying like it's a foregone conclusion that it's going to be the Rams. I just don't see that like that.
If the Rams stay healthy,
Yeah.
they're not wrong.
Yeah, the Rams defense, the second half of the season was one of the best defenses in the NFL. And if their defense continues to play at that level, adding Devontae Adams to that offense is going to make a massive difference with Cooper Kupp. Not Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua.
I was like,
Like,
I don't think that's the wrong shuffling there, bro.
Cooper Kupp's been hurt the last couple of years. But we
Yeah.
saw last year once Cooper Kupp got healthy, the Rams were 8-2 when Kupp and Nacua were both on the field. So when they had two legitimate wide receiver options, the Rams offense went to another level. As long as Nacua stays healthy and Devontae Adams stays healthy, that offense is going to be more than capable of putting up points.
They were 8-2 on the field together last year, so that means
Yeah.
that the Eagles were the one team that beat
Yep.
them both times.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what
Yeah,
the
no, the Rams managed to reload that team incredibly quick.
Yeah.
And I mean, especially because that defense is pretty young.
And I
So-
said that last year that I thought that was, apart from the year that Sean McVay got him to the Super Bowl, I think last year was the best coaching job Sean McVay has had as the Rams head coach. The way he was able to reload that team as quickly as he did, the way they were able to rebuild that defense without having Aaron Donald in the middle, like that coaching job that he had last year was amazing.
Yeah, well, and that's why he was dark horse for Coach of the Year last year.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't a front runner by any means, but when you look at some of the things that he was needed to do, yeah, geez.
Especially when you started 1-5, 1-6. So especially when you started 1-5 or 1-6 last year, and everyone was like talking about the Rams getting a top 5 pick when they started 1-6, and all of a sudden they were the one team that gave the Eagles the hardest matchup in the playoffs.
Yep. Yep.
That being said, I just don't see them.
And this here, yeah, Cup has looked good so far. Milrose looked good so far because, like we said, 10 minutes ago, nobody's in pads. Right? So, like, everybody better look good.
How many fights did they have?
I actually haven't heard of any yet. So,
That's off to a good start.
yeah, well, it's certainly compared to last year. There's a lot of hotheads in practice last year. But we also haven't started any real practices yet, right? Like, you're talking OTAs. Everybody still has a chance to be on this team. It's when you are getting into those, preseason workouts where mistakes start to eliminate you from a roster. That's when the fights really start to come, because the tensions build. Like, you have to mess up in such a monumental way to get cut in OTAs before any actual stuff happens.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm really curious to see what the product that Dallas puts out is going to look like. I mean, there's so many questions between the coaching changes, and we did upgrade our offensive line a little bit. We got Dak back. I'm just curious to see what this is going to look like. We got Pickens, as a complimentary for CD. I'm really curious to see what Dallas puts on the field, because I have no idea what to expect out of this.
This part is actually kind of true. Jones has been quiet, and it's weird. Is he in the hospital or something?
Well,
Did he die?
They may have cryogenically froze him. We don't know yet. AI is a hell of a thing these days.
And I hope you're right, Rob. I hope you're right, because that would be way better than the 9 wins I have them slated for.
I don't even think that they make 9, but that's fine.
But I am curious, though.
We play the South, so I think we have a pretty clear path to get to 9. Just because we do have some garbage teams on our schedule.
So you played the South on both sides?
Let me double check, because we got
in the AFC and the NFC.
Yeah, let me double check here, because I don't have it in front of me or memorized. So it's a little early in the year for me to have it memorized.
Yeah, I hear that. The only thing I know right now is that the Eagles don't play 2 home games in a row. That it's
yeah, you do.
No, we don't.
It's called January.
Not in January.
When the playoffs start, you'll have 2 home games in a row.
He was trying to be funny. Then that'll be 3 home games in a row if it works out the way I expect it to. Maybe even 4.
You don't have 2 home games in a row in preseason either.
And preseason we do, but come on. I mean, are we talking football?
No, because I thought that was because I think every team for the most part has like 2 home games in a row, whether it's like 1 preseason game and then the week opener. But then I retook that statement because I think there was a team last year that, counting preseason and anything, didn't have 2 home games in a row throughout the whole year. They had like a preseason home game, then they went on the road, then a preseason home game, then they went on the road. Like they didn't have 2 home games at all year.
Yeah, so let's see here. We got so we got Atlanta and the Panthers and New Orleans.
Right, that's South. Yeah. But do you play the AFC South?
No.
Who are you playing against in the AFC?
We got the Steelers, Bengals.
All right, so you got the North. Okay.
Yeah. And then our throw-in game is you. We got Philly.
No, that's not your throw-in game. Your throw-in game is probably from the South, actually. AFC South. I guess that would be Indianapolis.
No, we don't have that. Like we got the Vikings and you.
Yeah, but their 17th game is an AFC team.
Yeah.
So
let's see, we got
the football is oblong. It has some has like a nose on either side, and they throw it, hand it off sometimes.
They do throw it. It's crazy.
All right. Well, I guess we'll never know. I'm not looking it up for you.
We'll never know. Mostly because the window disappeared. So,
so real quick. I want to ask you guys if you guys have heard anything, because I'm going to tell people around my area to be careful this weekend because there's a lot of weirdo stuff going on.
Yes.
Have you guys gotten any word about anything that's going on in your area?
Yeah, so there's always a ton of it here in Seattle because we like to turn rallies into riots and do dumb stuff. So that's going to be super fun because there's a lot. There's a huge, for those of you watching that don't know, there's a huge anti-Trump nationwide rally crap that's about to go down, which means there's also going to be a bunch of pro-Trump stuff that happens. And when those groups meet, it's always fun. And, unfortunately for me, I'm going to be coaching that day, which means I'm going to have to drive through all of that on my way back. Like my drive to coaching, going to be no problem, right? Because I got to be down there at like 6 a.m. None of those people are up that early. So my trip there, super easy. My trip back at like 1:30 in the afternoon or 2, something like that, I'm going to have to drive through Seattle.
Yeah, we
Like,
already.
that could be a war zone.
Yeah, we already canceled our we have summer baseball now for the high school team. We already canceled our game for Saturday in Madison because we kind of figure that State Capitol Building in Madison is going to be a shit show.
So apparently, where I'm at here in Huntsville, which is right next to Sam Houston State University, it's going to be Saturday, June 14th at the Walker County Courthouse from 10 until 1 o'clock. By the No Kings is the name of the protesting group.
The No Kings is who's doing it all. That is
Yeah.
correct. They are the ones sending the people to Philadelphia as well. You could get your kits and all this other stuff. It's very interesting how they have been equipping these people. The Philadelphia police have already gone and had to do early sweeps and stuff like this. What gets me on this is that the people that are, that they are sending out there to do these, to incite these riots and whatever it is that's going, have no real interest in this and all, other than creating havoc.
Yeah, they want to create chaos. That's all it is.
Yeah. It's
well, according to their statement that the No Kings put out, it says a core principle behind all No Kings events is a commitment to nonviolent action. We expect all participants to seek to de-escalate any potential confrontation with those who disagree with our values and to act lawfully at these events. Weapons of any kind, including those legally permitted, should not be part of the events.
You are required to say that. Even
yeah,
if
that's what I'm saying. That's what they put out. Now, I don't know if I believe all that.
Even if you're going to incite violence, you have to put it out that way. Otherwise, you get stopped before it even starts, because you still have to get permits, so to speak, for riots. If you're going to shut down streets and stuff like that. Like, it's just that it's a thing. So if you came out and were like, we're going to destroy stuff, they're going to be like, yeah, no. Like, I mean, come on. So of course they're going to put it out that way. But I mean, anytime like the anarchists show up, they've never shown up to anything without destroying a bunch of property. Right.
Yeah.
So, and Joe, there are no illegal Italians in the United States, because if you're working and you don't feel like working, you live in Italy, because at any moment in time we can go on strike. They like to go on strike for like lunch. I'm dead serious. They go on strike all the time in Italy. So it's like their laws or rules on how people work and stuff like that over there. They're just like, hey, I'm not feeling it today. Let's go on strike at around 2 in the afternoon, 2:12 to 2:38. We're gonna take off. No running any of the public transportation.
Hey, none of these happy hour beers are going to drink themselves. So,
well, I tell you what, man.
But yeah, no, it is going to be a wild environment nationwide on Saturday. Like, that is going to be really crazy. And I mean, again, here in Seattle, because we turn every riot into, or every demonstration into a riot. I don't know what it is about here, but they like to do it.
I just plan to stay in my little wooded community, and I'm good. I'm not going anywhere near Huntsville. I'm just going to stay right here in my little abode. Yeah,
Philadelphia's. I am probably going to go to the Phillies game on Friday, tomorrow.
Yeah,
but they're talking about how it's possible that it could that this could start to escalate early, and I kind of feel like that idiots, dumbasses and assholes, you know what I mean, all are the ones that cause the problems. You know what I mean? It's like most of these people have no idea what they're getting incited about. That it's just got Trump on the other side of things.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, really, most of these things, the people that are involved don't care about whatever it is. They're just, a lot of them are just there to try and wreck stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
Yeah, well, and that's why you see all the videos here from Seattle that get nationwide news of them dropping, gas charges and stuff, trying to move crowds around. And, and they're like, they don't know how to handle stuff. It's like, well, I mean, you guys did just destroy like 2 city blocks worth of windows. Like rubber bullets and gas bombs are kind of what you signed up for.
And I've read a couple of articles, and I don't know how true they are, but some of the articles I've read have said where some of these organizations actually pay people to do these protests and do this kind of stuff. I don't know. Have y'all heard that? Is that okay? That
is a very real thing. In fact, if you go back and watch some of the videos, you'll watch some of the exact same people in different cities. So yeah.
Okay.
So no, they absolutely do send people to create problems, even in ones where it was peaceful. Like we used to have kind of, demonstrations on May Day almost every year. And then it became a riot situation a few years in a row. And now they don't even give the permit for those demonstrations anymore because they're like, no, you guys just destroy our city every time.
Yeah. And I heard that. I just wasn't sure if that was a real thing. But now you guys are saying it is. That
is a
really
real
blows
thing.
my mind. But it makes sense. You're right. There are some of the same people. I've noticed that. That makes sense now. It really does.
Yeah. If you watch on TV, you'll be like, oh, that person was also in this city creating problems. So, yeah.
This makes you think, well, what the hell are we doing, man? What are we doing?
Imagine being a professional douchebag where you're just
you know
what
I mean?
Ruin this city.
Like, is there a W-2 for that? And if so, what do you put down for a job description? Professional douchebag? Is that what you do?
I mean, they 1099 you.
They 1099 you. You write out the mileage to get to the city you're in. You write out all the expenses. Why do you have this $1 million expense on your tax return? Well,
you want your 54 cents a mile? Let's go.
Hey, it's more than 54 cents a mile now.
I'm sure it is.
Cents. It's up to 67 cents a mile.
Okay, woo! Book the cruise. Let's go.
That's why I drive so much for work. Is it's 67 cents a mile. I'll rack up the mileage on my tax return for a 1099 form.
There you go,
man. Well,
so everybody be safe this weekend is really what I was getting to.
Absolutely be safe. Be safe. And try not to go out too much because you got to imagine with the protests, there's going to be police all over the place. So, yeah.
And I would imagine some of it does start a day early. It would if tomorrow is the first day that dumb stuff starts to kick off.
What is that? You got a pregame. Bo, you got a pregame.
That's right. Pre-funking it up. Yeah. And, yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if it starts tomorrow and goes through the weekend, but the bulk of it is Saturday.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Saturday is when it's supposed to happen. So what gets me is that they're doing this, they're doing like the tanks and stuff like that in DC. And I wonder what's going to happen down there. Are we going to have like a Tiananmen Square? Like
it's going to be chaos, man.
It's going to be a mess. It's going to be a mess.
If you can stay home and grab your popcorn, that would be the safest way to do it. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. And of course, if you're on Roku, stay tuned for the next hour. We're going to get out of here. Stay safe, everybody.
Later.